Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Meta Cafe. Grab your cup of coffee or tea. Oh, I have a chip in my cup. Join me for some astrology, human design, perhaps, oracle, and even some numerology this morning. So I hope you all had a wonderful weekend. It was certainly a good one for me. Peaceful. Went to the movies, had some fun, went to a dinner place I've not been to in a long time. It was kind of magical and sort of like date night for Valentine's Day, but on the weekend instead of on Valentine's Day. It was kind of fun. Good morning, Roseanne, and good morning, Suzanne. I see my cousin out there, Joanne. Good morning to you. And good question, Roseanne. She says, first thing, Zoom, question mark. Well, guess what? I was too busy having fun this weekend to really go back through and decide whether I wanted to continue using Zoom or not. So this morning I decided to go with Be Live just because I have it still. I've paid for it through March 3rd, so I might as well use it while I've got it. But the other thing I'm thinking of is tomorrow I would like to go back to Zoom for a short time because this weekend the sun moved into Pisces and the moon is in Aries. So we have some little bit of, interesting energies bumping up against one another here. And I want to see if there's anybody out there who would like me to take a look at their chart. If you want to have me look at your chart and see what the next month might be bringing up for you, month as in Pisces just began. And if I'm going on the astrological month, then I'm going to do for Pisces from February 18th, 19th to I want to say it's going to be the 20th of March this year, where we begin Aries. So please, in the comments, say, hey, I want my chart looked at, and then I can contact you and help you figure out how to get into Zoom so that we can see you. If you want to be seen, you don't have to be seen, but then you're there so you can see your chart. And if you don't mind your chart being displayed for everybody. And I think that's something that's really important for us to be able to do, is to look at one another's charts. Why? Because we learn so much about ourselves. So you might not be a sun sign Pisces, but you have Pisces in your chart somewhere. So all of the energies that we talk about between now and the end of the sun's reign in Pisces will still apply to you in some way. So just before we went on air this morning, good morning, Cassandra. Hey, I have my first person who wants to have their chart looked at. Cassandra, that's awesome. So when I get done with the show this morning, I will contact you via Facebook and help you figure out how to get in and what to do tomorrow. Okay? So hang in there with me. So what I thought I would do today, because I know, first of all, I can't take everybody's chart and look at them right here in this moment and tell you how this is going to play out for you this month. But I can tell you, based on your sun sign, or you could hear me based on your sun sign, as to what some of the energies might be that are coming up. Now, I didn't get to finish this before I went live, so I'm going to have to off the cuff some of it. But if you're a Taurus or a Capricorn, then you need to be able to take your gifts and your talents and focus in on them this month. This will be a great time. You're welcome, Cassandra. This would be a great time for you to take to do sort of a checklist, if you will, or an inventory of all of your gifts and your talents, and which of those would be very easy for you to focus in on in your life. So, for example, if you start to take your, I'm talking to Taurus and Capricorn right now. So if you take all of your gifts and talents that are related to perhaps business or into growing a business, then what specifically under that umbrella are you really good at, and how can you focus that energy in? If you're an artist and you're out there playing in the world of art, but yet you're not getting your work out there or your work recognized, how can you get some of that done for yourself? And being in the right place at the right time often helps. And utilizing your human design, of course, we can help you find how to be in the right place at the right time. Contact me if you need to know more about that. Gemini and Sagittarius, my favorite signs. You're going to have a bit of a challenge this month. All my life, I wondered why February and March sometimes seem to be challenging months for me. And now I know, because at the time the sun moves into Pisces, it starts to square my sign, and for you as well, Sagittarius. Now, squares aren't bad things. They're just challenges, right? There are things that you got to look at, critical thinking patterns, perhaps, that you've gotten yourself locked into that you have to let go of. Critical thinking patterns sometimes turn into belief patterns, especially if you're focusing a lot of mind energy on them. So you may be challenged in this particular month to kind of align yourself with your creative impulses and let your mind get whatever it needs to be done, let it wander, but know that when it's time to take action on your creative impulses, whatever that is, if it's writing, if it's art, if it's business, whatever, in whatever vein or whatever vein it's in, you want to make sure that you don't let your mind stop you, because the impulses coming up through Pisces are intuitive and they're very creative, and they come from a completely different place than the mind, which Gemini and Sagittarius very locked into. Virgos, you're in an opposition to this particular lunation, or this sun setting, or this sun position, let's call it. And that makes it difficult a little bit for Virgos, because Virgos are very down to earth, grounded, do it by the book. Let's do it organized. Let's be practical. And there's nothing wrong with that. But the polar opposite of your sign is Pisces. And Pisces is anything but that organized. They go by their intuition. They sort of fly by the seat of their pants a bit. And if you can incorporate that energy into your practical everyday life and stop overanalyzing what's coming up from your end, then hopefully you have an opportunity to move through some of this energy this month in a way that is both grounded, but also able to have, so you're the ones that are going to have your head in the sky and in the stars, but also your feet on the ground. And you're going to have both, because you need value from both of those in order to move forward in this month. So let's see, what signs have I missed? So Aquarius and Aries. You guys are going to be a bit of an interesting combination, because the Aquarian is on one side of Pisces and Aries is on the other side of Pisces. And that means that the qualities of both Aries and Aquarius are completely different from that of Pisces. They're almost alien to one another, as they sit right next door to one another. So while Aquarius is very inventive and looks to see how things work outside the box, Pisces energy is a little bit of the head in the clouds and dreaming and escapism, as opposed to what the Arian would want, which is much more about, let's take impulsive action. I don't want just dreams, I want action. And Aquarius saying, but let's do it in a scientific way. Let's make sure it's different. And so those signs may have a little bit of a difficult time, because now the energy is completely different from what you're used to. Cancer, and let's see, Cancer, you looking like you're also 30, 60, 90, 120 degrees. So Cancer, and it would also be then 30, 60, 90, 100. And so Cancer and, oh, that's right, because Cancer and Scorpio are fellow water signs to Pisces. So a trine is an ease and flow of the energy, right? The energy flows quite nicely, and it takes you into territory where if you choose to take action, it's going to move around the chart for you quite easily. So that means sometimes the trines are a little bit lazy, because yeah, if I applied myself, I could probably be great, but I don't apply myself, so I just settle for good. And there's nothing wrong with either way, so that's not my point here. But in this particular month, it might be a good idea for you to actually push yourself just a bit, right? Push yourself to that greatness. Push yourself to be in alignment with what you dream is possible for yourself. And let's see, who's missing here? We not talked about Libra. And let's see, did I miss Leo? I missed Libra and Leo. Let's look at here. So we've got Pisces in 30, 60, 90, 120. So 150 degree relationship for our Libras and our Leos. And that puts it, we're going to talk about this anyway this morning, because an inconjunct is an interesting sort of energy, because, or an aspect, because there's nothing familiar to anything in the sign of Leo and Libra to that of Pisces energy. So it feels like a fish traveling out of water, right? If I would imagine when a fish, you think of an orca or a flying fish, when they're up in the air, they might feel a little odd, even though, you know, it's part of their domain. It isn't really a part of who they really are. It's not in their comfort zone. So you two, Leo and Libra, are going to have to step a bit out of your comfort zone. You may have to do some shaking up of your life a bit in order to be able to take your intuitive information and make it, you know, something that you can use here on the planet. So any of you out there can see that if you have this, you have Pisces somewhere in your chart. So this is going to be a part of your experience over the next 30 days. Now, the sun in Pisces brings up victim, savior, martyr energy. Remember, we've been dealing with this off and on since at least the last eclipse, the last solar eclipse, the total solar eclipse in August. And we've had many opportunities to kind of shine that light on victim energy and to look at places where we're being the martyr, and to also in some way look at that part of us that's acting in the role of savior. And all of those interplay with one another throughout the sign of Pisces. Now, am I saying there's something wrong with you if you're still having victim, savior, martyr energies enter into your life? Nope. But I am saying that if it shows up in your world over the next 30 days, this is a really great time to get to the heart of it, get to the unconsciousness of it. And I say that because Pisces in the horoscope wheel rules the 12th house. And the 12th house is the house of the hidden. And it's also the house of the unconscious mind or the subconscious mind. And sometimes what we find in the subconscious mind is there's a whole lot going on that we seem to have no control over, right? Now, that makes us a little victim-y, right? If we feel like we don't have any control over our subconscious mind. But the truth of the matter is that our unconscious or our subconscious is always talking to us, whether it's through a fear that we suddenly have, like the closer I get to a goal, the more fear I have, or I am walking a tightrope in my world and suddenly I'm like frozen with fear. That is an unconscious place coming up in you. And when that happens, it gives you the beautiful moment for you to choose again as to what you're going to do with that energy. So you're never a victim. Really, you're never a victim. But when you get tempted to fall into that victim, martyr, savior energy, all you have to really do is take a moment and breathe, stop what you're doing, and ask the question, is this in my highest and best? Is this intuitively something that I'm doing, or that I know I should be doing, or is this me reacting or knee-jerking from fear? So definitely interesting questions for us to think about over the next several weeks. Idealism versus realism. Our Pisces friends are very dreamy, escapist, imagination ruling their world. And we want some of that energy. We want to be imaginative. We want to have access to some of that dream. Dreaming the dream gives us access to what we want in our lives, right? If we're dreaming about having a most successful business or taking trips around the world, we want that dream because what we're saying is we want to bring that into reality. But what happens sometimes is we default. I watch myself do this all the time. When I get disturbed in my world, what do? Get over to Netflix and start chilling on going down the road with some like 15 episode show. What do we call that? Binge watching television. That's been my escape. Or I will escape into a book or something like that. And so watching yourself and what you're doing when things get dicey in your life, it's really juicy to do that, because then you can see, oh, I'm dealing with something, right? If I know that my escapism is binge watching Grace and Frankie, which is one of my favorite shows right now, then I know that I'm trying to escape something. There's something I don't want to look at. And I'm not saying that escapism is wrong, but do it consciously. So you know, okay, for an hour, I'm going to sit here and I'm going to do this. I'm going to give myself some time away from whatever it is that has created the the feeling of not being able to move forward or the stopping point, the paralysis point, as we would say in human design. And then I'm going to go back to it. I'm going to take that break. And today, if I'm going to take that break, I may take a walk. It's a gorgeous day here today. But take the break, but recognize that that's what you're doing. And don't just get into unconsciously dreamy escape, going through the motions to escape from what it is that you don't want to look at over here. Give yourself time and then go back, okay? The ruling planet for Pisces is Neptune. Neptune in its highest is the most beautiful connection that we have to spirit, and Pisces takes us there. It is the most beautiful connection that we have to unconditional love, to everything that we think of that is spiritual, the beauty of God and connection to source, to universal consciousness, to cosmic mind, whatever it is that you want to call it. It is that most beautiful of connections that we have. It is also the place of nightmares. It is also the place where we can get caught up in illusion, because sometimes it's hard to see the correct information. This is a place where we can easily get drawn into being gullible and taking action that other people want us to take, but it may not be anything that serves you at all. So be very mindful of when other people are trying to take you places. Buying, for example, a big ticket item during this time period may be fraught with that kind of person who's trying to disillusion you or to pull something over on you. So eyes wide open in any of your interactions this month as well. But for the most part, we have access during this time to high intuition, to be able to see ourselves from a higher perspective and to really enjoy that feeling of being connected, heart, mind, body, soul, all of it, and feeling like we're really a part of something here on the planet. All right. So today, the moon is in Aries. I think I started to speak to that in the beginning this morning. The moon at Aries wants us to take initiative, right? And on top of that, the moon is trining Mars. Mars is the planet that wants action. It catalyzes us to move forward. The moon often is a catalyst as well, but her catalyzing energies are about timing. Mars just wants action for action, but the moon catalyzes action because it's in the right and perfect time. So today we have the potential for a lot of right timing, right? Being in the right place at the right time with the right people. Don't rush or be impulsive today. Don't give into that kind of energy, but be centered in and take what I would call calculated steps towards something this day, and also tomorrow as well will be in a bit of that energy, as the moon is in Aries for most of that time. I want to show you this. Let me see if you guys can see this. I want you to look at that beautiful kite shape, right? Here's one point. Here's the, go this way, Janet. There's the tip of the kite. And then here's the part of the kite that you're flying it from. Remember, during the summer, we had access to that kite a lot, right? And the kite's base, this big giant trine, is made up of fire energy. And fire energy is passion, right? It is about taking your passion and giving it steps to action. So take the initiative, yes. And by the way, the planets that make up that are the moon and Mars, but also the North Node. The North Node, as we talked about over the last couple of weeks, is about your destiny, right? It's about the life path that is laying in front of you, the life path trajectory, we call it in human design. And it is now the time then for you to follow the line of action toward your passions. Or take your passions and find the line of action according to your type and strategy, of course, because it's there for you right now, today. Lastly, I feel like I'm out of breath. I've been talking so much. Eris and Jupiter today. Remember I said today we might go to a little bit of numerology. Well, today Jupiter is sitting at 22 degrees of Scorpio. And the planet Eris, the goddess of discord, is sitting at 22 degrees of Aries. Now remember, Eris and Uranus, they created quite a bit of shakeup over the last year and a half, as the divine feminine actually wakes up, right, from her long slumber and faces the patriarchy head on. And of course, we've seen that happen in a myriad of ways. That isn't going to stop happening. But today, with them being in an interesting 22-degree relationship with one another, it's a time to master build. 22 is a builder, right? The builder takes steps. The builder moves forward. They don't just sit there, but they go forward with a plan, right? If you're going to build a house, you don't start with the roof and then, oh yeah, I better build a foundation and, oh, maybe I'll put up a wall or two. No, there's a plan, and you do it in a stepwise fashion. You do it in a way that supports that the base can support the roof, right? And the walls. So there's a bit of a caution here for us today with this, to make sure that we are willing to adjust our plan if it doesn't seem to be building one on top of the other, to shake things up in our world. If we've been stuck in a place of no action, or we've been stuck in this the rat wheel, right? The rat wheel going round and round. Time to get off that. So be willing to sacrifice some of your beliefs, things that have held you back, right? What do we call it? Sacrificing your the beliefs and patterns perhaps that have held you back, and be able to look into the dark places. Jupiter and Scorpio has been digging through, right, the hidden, the trash kind of heap in our world. So it's pulling up sort of the ugly taboo subjects and bringing them up to shine the light on them, so that we can release our old outmoded feelings, beliefs, grudges, emotions around subjects of all kinds, right? So Eris helping us do that also in a way that is maybe not so comfortable, right? She's really kind of a bitch in the way she does things. She's not like just saying, oh, please, honey, take your time in clearing out this stuff. No, she takes you by your collar or your ear, and she says, do it now and do it this way. Jupiter's not quite so overt, but Jupiter's going to be very good at showing you where you've been passive aggressive, perhaps, or where you have not been being your own best friend. So if you want to move forward, and we do, right? This energy is all about moving forward. Then you might have to clear out some of the things that you've been holding on to, the sacred cows, right? Letting go of the ways that you've been trying to do things, where you've been just bumping your head up against the wall. Why keep doing that? Hello, don't do that anymore. Move in a new direction. And we're going to be looking at some charts hopefully over the week, and we can take a look at where you're stuck and perhaps how we can open some doorways for you. Lastly, for you today, I pulled a card this morning, and I don't know if we've had this card. I think I've pulled this card for myself, but I pulled the card Treasure Island. It's a beautiful card. Let me see how close I can get so you guys can see. There's a turtle in the water, which already evokes luck and flow and abundance. And look what's sitting on the turtle's back. The turtle is swimming to us with a load of gold and hearts and just yummy stuff. So Treasure Island tells us that, because my intention when I pulled this card was to give us an idea of what we were looking at for the week, this appears to be a week that takes us into abundance. And so let me read you a couple of the prosperity things that come up with that. It's a card number 9, by the way. And to me, the 9 is possibly releasing us from old beliefs that we have around not being abundant, right? Wouldn't it be nice to be able to release anything that's not abundant? Suzanne says, I may be stuck a little or a lot, not sure. Yeah, we are all that way, right? It's about time to let us get out of that. So if you want me to look at your chart, Suzanne, let me know, and I'll be happy to pull that up. So we'll be looking at different charts over the course of this particular week. So let me go back to the card, the essential meaning of the card. The law of attraction, bringing dreams into fruition and the results of positive thinking made manifest. Abundance appearing as if from nowhere. Financial gains and the sharing of good fortune. Sharing of good fortune. I love that. So let's look at the prosperity message just in the interest of time. I have a big day today. At this time, you can be confident that success is yours. I love it. Your ideas are all hitting the mark, and you're in a true manifestation period when you will see evidence of the seeds of prosperity you planted in the past. The appearance of this card in a reading indicates that your dreams and aspirations align with concrete signs of prosperity in the world of form. This is very auspicious and fortunate time for business, for creative projects will flourish and inspiration strikes. Share your wealth with others too. Generosity and gratitude should lead you now. So this is again from the Wisdom of the Oracle by Colette Baron Reed, my new favorite Oracle deck. She also has the Wisdom of Avalon, which has been a favorite deck of mine for a long time. But I just feel like recently these are the cards that I need to share with you all. And I just remembered, actually, I think it was my daughter that reminded me that you don't have to necessarily go out and buy the deck. You can go to Colette Baron Reed's website, maybe Google Wisdom of the Oracle cards, and the Oracle is online. And you can draw cards online from this deck. I love it, right? Technology, what has it done for us? Of course, nothing replaces the actual having the cards in your hand. There's something about the tactile connection to the cards as well. But in a pinch, I would definitely go to the website and pull a card if you're lost, if you're stuck, and maybe even read a little bit about the background of the cards, because she's really infused some magic into these cards, and I love that aspect of it. All right, let's see. I'm going to look at some comments here and see. Suzanne wants her chart done. I may be stuck a little or a lot. I think I read that one. Roseanne says, yep, I'm lazy. Ha! That's too funny, Roseanne. She's not lazy. She really isn't lazy. But you know what's interesting about being lazy is that sometimes we do it by default, right? We do it by default because we don't see, maybe, we're in a groove, right? It's real easy for us to get up in the morning and go do the same things every day. We get in a groove, and it's called the Wisdom of the Oracle. Somebody's asking about the name of the deck. I know my light is kind of shining in a weird place. There we go. Wisdom of the Oracle. But anyway, sometimes we get into this groove, and it's not so much that we're lazy. If we were to step back and watch ourselves, we would say, oh yeah, I'm just being lazy. I'm just keep doing, right? The same things over and over and over again without stepping out of the groove. That's kind of the nature of the trine, right? It gives us a reason to keep doing the same things that we've been doing because it seems to work for us. But it can be a place of stagnation. So stagnation, shake yourself up, move yourself in a different direction. And don't just be willy-nilly about it, although that might work too. But I would bet somewhere inside of you, you have been given this impulse or this kind of voice in your head saying, go do that, go do that, go in that direction. But maybe we're resisting the voice because, hey, this works, right? This getting up in the morning, going to work, coming home keeps working. So why should I do anything different? Why should I change jobs? Why should I do anything different? Because this seems to be working. So this will be something for you to look at. It's not so much, it is a place of laziness. You're right. But it's not that you're being lazy because you have no skills. It's that this has been working for so long that you might have lost sight of the fact that there's a different way to do things. So that trine needs some shakeup, and Eris and Jupiter shaking us up this week. All right, so tomorrow morning then, sometime later today, I will be putting up the link for Zoom for tomorrow. Again, you can register. When you register, here's the difference. I wondered why some people were registered and I didn't see them and that kind of thing. When you register, you're saying, I'm going to be in on the Zoom platform. And that means that I see you on Zoom. I can bring you in. I can chat with you in the chat box. And I can also show your chart. We can all see one another if you are so inclined to be on video. You don't have to be on video because we can still hear you. I can unmute you and we can talk. That's the difference. So when you follow the link that is in the registration, you end up in Zoom. Now, if you don't need that kind of interaction with me, I'm okay with that because it's cast live to Facebook. So it'll be just like we are here today. The difference is I can't watch Zoom and Facebook at the same time. So my poor people that are live on Facebook don't get me, I don't notice your comments until later. I still go back in and I, answer your questions or respond to your comments. I just can't do it live. So that's the difference. If you register, you come in with me on Zoom by following the Zoom link at 8 o'clock tomorrow morning. And then I can see you in Zoom and then we can interact. I can post your chart up if you want me to read your chart, and a couple of people have said they wanted to do that. You don't have to be visible, but I do have to be able to hear you, and that means you'll have to have a microphone, or your laptop, phone, iPad, they all have microphones, so we should be able to hear one another. I hope that helps. You will be seeing the invitation pop up here on Facebook a little bit later. And in the meantime, I hope everybody has a wonderful day. It's beautiful here in the Pacific Northwest. I hope it's beautiful where you are. If it isn't, that's okay. Make it a beautiful day. I love you all. Thank you so much for joining me in the morning. Have a stellar day. Bye for now.